Uh, uh, Hello? Are you there? God, I hate the fact that I can see myself because it's not a mirror image where I think this is supposed to be over there. God, when did that has it always been like that? It's not a mirror, which is odd. Okay. Hi. It's March 12th. That's a fact. It's 2026. That's a fact too. I've got another fact, which is hard to believe. It's a headline I saw. Okay, I'm going to share it with you now. I just saw this before a second ago. Kash Patel confirms UFC fighters will train FBI agents this week. I'm smiling so I don't let out a primal scream. The head of the FBI has confirmed that he has brought in UFC fighters to train FBI agents. The subheading calls it an historic opportunity. The three letters WTF were made for that. Well, it's just another day in dumb fuckistan. God, I just realized I'm wearing the same thing I did yesterday. Another problem with now being on camera, which I hadn't been for years and years and years, is that I've reverted a little bit in my head back to being on TV. And when I was on TV, the idea of wearing the same thing, even twice in the same week, would have been just unforgivable. Grounds for dismissal. No. So I found myself in the morning as I'm getting dressed thinking, oh no, you wore that. And then today I saw, this was just I never even hung it up. It was lying there where I took it off and I thought, I'm putting it back on. What the hell? So I'm stopping with, I don't want to get into that bullshit. Okay. All right. It's exhausting being alive. I think it always was, but it's particularly exhausting being alive now. I hear you saying, tell me something that I don't know. Well, I'm sitting here. I don't want to. I don't want to. I can't. Okay, here's the thing. I came across yesterday. I'm recalling yesterday, besides wearing this, yesterday I mentioned that my sense is that the two biggest things that we have to keep focused on are, one, that this lawless administration that our country, men and women, have shackled us and the rest of the world with in their infinite wisdom, that this administration is working 24/7 and tirelessly to ensure that they are not turned out of power and office, which means that they've got to fiddle, do stuff so that the midterm elections don't yield, well, a kind of result that they don't want. And they're doing it very openly. So I think this is so unbelievably important, have to be focused all the time. The other thing I said, this is the other story, is that the concentration of unbelievable amounts of the world's wealth and assets, and hence power, in just a few hands, few, is another thing that will destroy everything if we leave it as is. As is, my God, it'll get worse every day. It's just they're cooking the books and fixing the systems because they're owning the governments, and they'll just take it all. I mean, I got a feeling we're heading into, if they're left unchecked, these crazed gazillionaire capitalist sons of bitches, that if they're left unchecked, history will look back on like the age of kings and queens and serfs as a relatively benign benign era. It's certainly akin, where just a tiny, tiny bunch of people who then pass that wealth and power on to their progeny have it all, and the rest are left to scramble and serve them, die in their wars. Okay, so those are the two biggies. And then, Ben said I wouldn't have noticed, but then I'm a guy. He's talking about, you know what? I thought that too. I thought most guys, I could wear this literally every day. Most guys wouldn't think anything of it. And in fact, I pretty much used to. It's so comfortable. But the women notice. In fact, you've seen in chat how sometimes I'm wearing something and it's always a woman will say, "What a nice scarf," or "I love your sweater." And I'm not saying I don't appreciate that, but that was a result of my thinking I had to do the TV thing. The fact that I would even think of putting a scarf on to sit here. So, have you forgotten the Gilded Age? No, we're in it. We're in a second Gilded Age. That's where I think they're akin. That was akin. Look, I'm not a historian. I can't tell you. And the Gilded Age was also a result of this huge wrenching change in how wealth was created and how people functioned. It was the industrial age that uprooted the agrarian age. And now that industrial age, which fed the wealth of the Gilded Age, I read somewhere the other day, and I'm sure it's true, that in the Gilded Age, the neighborhood I'm sitting in now, East Endish, Pittsburgh, had more, I forget the exact thing, had like more rich, super rich human beings than any other concentration of such in the world. And I believe it because it would have been, right? Carnegie, Frick, Westinghouse, Mellon, I mean, the whole Heinz, a whole bunch of them, right? Because this was ground zero of the industrial age and the wealth that it produced. So guys, now that I've digressed off a digression, I forget where the hell I was heading. Which reminds me of a toast that my dear Uncle Louis said, I think it was at Susan's wedding, when he addressed the young couple who were leaving somewhere to go somewhere. And if you get lost, remember, just turn around and come home. Everybody always thinks that's funny, and I don't. I didn't quite get it, because sometimes if you're lost, I think you can turn around. And no, that's not true. I always think of being lost as you can't go you're confused about going forward. All right, never mind. I must have more Uncle Louis in me than I thought. Timothy, I did notice you're wearing the same thing, but then I'm a gay guy. You guys are so funny. I so enjoy you. Oh my. Okay, so digression. So I'm thinking about this concentration of wealth. And it is, wed to the first issue I was talking about being so important, the corruption and attempted corruption of our elections, because that's about the powerful and rich wanting to stifle the voice of the vast majority of people, and in this case, voters. And they're used to getting what they want. And they're used to controlling stuff, right? So I didn't know about this. And I know I also mentioned yesterday that what creeps me out is the idea that two of the richest men, I was just thinking of two, I know there's a million more, but I was thinking of Bezos and Musk, how they are, especially Musk, I think, intimately connected to our space program. Because they actually, all these guys have the wealth of huge nation states, or as I mentioned yesterday, there's a bunch of them that literally already have control assets that are greater than the gross domestic products of the United States and China. That level of concentrated wealth in the hands of a tiny few who also have been integrated into our government at the highest levels. I mean, they sit in the cabinet and that kind of stuff, but also in terms of national security, the space program, literally almost owning it. There used to be NASA. Does it even exist anymore? And if it does, it's not of the people, by the people, for the people. It's become this, it's been privatized, for Christ's sake. And I said, it makes me nervous. The national security implications of just that, let alone a million other things. So then I finally got to where I was going. So then I came across this, and it's true. This was actually a press release put out by the United States Army last year. Dateline, Washington. The U.S. Army is establishing Detachment 201, the Army's Executive Innovation Corps. Ever heard of it? The Army's Executive Innovation Corps. It's what they had to do to let Musk and his buddies have access to all these top secrets. Goes on to say, it's a new initiative designed to fuse cutting-edge technological expertise with military innovation. On June 13th, 2025, the Army will officially swear in its first 4 tech leaders. Now, what that means is they literally took the chief technical officers of Palantir. Let me get this right. Now I'm going to a different source. Palantir, Meta, OpenAI, and is that Sam Altman's company? Yeah. And some other guy, I'm not sure which one he's affiliated with. So the technological heads of these, and they swore them in as lieutenant colonels in this new division, Detachment 201. Now, guys, they didn't do no basic training. They just leapfrogged over all the people in the Army, every single one of them. I didn't know you could do this. You just can make somebody you can just, okay, you're a lieutenant colonel. Anyway, it says this. So these 4 guys, there might be more by now. I don't know. That was almost a year ago. They are now 1 rank away from being a general. There are 16 ranks lower than lieutenant colonel. And these 4 untrained civilians just vaulted over all of those who have dedicated their entire careers and or life and lives to the U.S. military. Now, that means, these guys have been given access. This is how they were able to, I guess, do it, to top secret information without having to go through any background checks. The rest of this information I'm getting from somebody who really dug into this. Palantir is building a massive centralized database using much of the information acquired from Doge and Musk going, through all the computers. ICE currently has access to Medicaid, Medicare, the IRS. By commissioning these chief tech officers of these biggest tech firms as lieutenant colonels, they have circumvented all normal clearance protocols. They've gained access to classified systems. They are shielded from freedom of information inquiries. It grants them field grade officer status, not because of any normal progression, but to protect proprietary surveillance access under the veil of national security. Guys, I don't know about you, but I'm not okay with this. I wasn't imagining that this when I said what I said yesterday. These men are not in the US military to help us win a war. They are lieutenant colonels just sworn in the military to integrate biometric surveillance into population control, to run real-time feedback loops between social media and military psyops. They're there to advance cognitive warfare, targeting attention and identity and belief. This is behavioral conquest through interface design. It's the battlefield of the nervous system, dressed in camo. Just remember, there is now something called the U.S. Army's Detachment 201. And what it's up to? Well, one person's idea. We know already that this administration wants to use the military against the enemy within. That'd be me, you. These guys bringing in these tech geniuses. I'm just saying. Those are the things that we've got to keep our eyes on for all the good that's going to do. You know, I have you seen this video out of Burlington, Vermont? I don't know if it's been on the friggin' what passes for television news. It was American citizens being women, the two that were really getting just smashed, were attempting to observe ICE dragging two people out of their home in Burlington, Vermont. And a crowd had gathered to protest, and it got nasty. And there is violence on US citizens that looks much like what we saw in Minneapolis. And, you know, it's still going on all over the place. They've decentralized it so that the media aren't there to record it. And media have moved on now because we got this war going anyway. And we know media can't do two things at once. But ICE is still doing what they do in Minnesota. They've moved into smaller places where it's harder to gather a group of people with cameras and protesters. And it's harder for the people with video to get the attention of media. Still going on. I mean, there is a picture of some cop. I think it's a cop. I don't even think it's an ICE person. Just throwing a woman. I mean, just throwing her. Crash. And another where their honor and being. Yeah, I just don't know. You know a woman named, what a name, Heather Honey. It sounds like it should be a stripper, right? Heather Honey, you know, she's a pole dancer. Heather Honey. Yeah, she be from here, Pennsylvania. And she was the one in Pennsylvania in 2020 that was so intent on proving that the vote had not been properly tallied here. And that, yeah, I guess Trump votes had been, who knows what, incinerated. She worked very, very hard on that effort. But unfortunately, damn, even though they tried, there was that January 6th thing, but damn, Joe Biden got sworn in. Damn. Heather Honey has moved up in the world. Because, of course, we know that Donald Trump is now the president again. And this woman, who was a major election denier, doing most of her hard work right here, is now the head of something called election integrity in the Department of Homeland Security. She's working right alongside the guys from ICE. They're all under the same umbrella. So you got Heather Honey in charge of election integrity, and palsy walsy with the boys in the next office, that'd be ICE. What could go wrong? It's expected that Philadelphia is going to be a big target. I would imagine that since the Democratic vote is lodged in Philly and specifically here in Pittsburgh, that we could be seeing some of Heather's hard work here in November. You know what I learned? The 14th ward of the city of Pittsburgh, I'm sitting in it right now. The 14th ward apparently delivers with regularity enough Democratic votes to neutralize, I love it, to neutralize the votes of a whole hunk of Pennsylvania. I mean, I forgot how many counties, red rural counties that go for Trump, that huge vote is matched by the vote in this one ward. which is to say I live in a bubble. Okay. Do I have anything else to regale you with? Oh, yeah. Speaking of rich people, been reading a lot about the efforts of some states and, states and cities to tax the rich. And I think there was something today about Washington State. I didn't know this. Washington State is one of, do you think I wrote it down anywhere? Washington State is one of, I'm looking at my little crib notes here to tell myself where I put things. Washington State is one of 9 states. So there's 9 states in the country that have no income tax. I'm surprised there aren't more. I don't know what the others are, but I'm sure a lot of like rich folk like to live there. If you think of it, Washington State had a ton of, well, they might have been there anyway, but Jeff Bezos used to be in Washington State. The Starbucks guy, Schultz, is, Boeing is. So they have no income tax for anybody. And Washington State is one of those states that want to institute an income tax, but just, not on you, just on people who make $1 million a year. It's not on people who have $1 million. It's on people who make $1 million a year. People who make $1 million a year are rich. Yeah, they be rich. So the legislature in Washington has said, we're gonna have a millionaire's tax because we need money and it could generate billions. The governor backs the bill, so it looks like this is going through. And of course, the gazillionaires, the billionaires who live there are saying, well, then I'm leaving. Now, stop and think about this. An income tax is not on your wealth. The income tax is on what you make in a year. A billionaire? I mean, whatever the tax is, and the tax is going to be a 9.9%, okay, 10% tax. They wouldn't even miss it. It'd be a hunk of change for you or me, but they wouldn't even miss it. And that these people who have so much wealth and they're willing to uproot themselves and leave because they're being asked to contribute to the greater good, given their incredible good fortune, literally and figuratively. And their reaction is to leave. That's what Musk did too. He picked up and went to, they're all going to Texas. I don't understand these people. What is it that when you already have so much, you get insane. And the Republicans always say, the people who get nervous about this always say, no, all the rich people are going to leave and they're going to take all the jobs with them. Now, some of that could happen. I don't know. But it shows how they I don't know. And then I happened to read that New York City wants to impose a millionaire's tax as well. This is one of Mamdani's platform planks. And I forget what that tax would be. It's even less. He wants to raise the city in, okay, so you pay a city tax there too. He wants to raise the city income tax to 5.88% on households that earn more than $1 million per year. Households that earn more than $1 million per year. And so there's also let's be, give them their due. That's a 5.88% for somebody making $1.1 million a year. And also a New York State tax, also a federal tax. Yeah, so whatever. It would amount to about $20,000. You know what $20,000 is to someone who makes $1 million a year? And see, most of these people, they make millions a year and they've got billions in the bank. It doesn't mean anything to them. And the fact is that New York City hasn't lost millionaires. They've gained them in the last 4 years. I mean, with that kind of wealth, why would you pick up and leave for $20,000 a year because you're having a snit fit? Anyway, I mean, easy for me to say. There are some 400 millionaires from all over the world who recently did write a letter to all the rich guys in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And they were calling for higher taxes on people like them. Tax us, they're saying. We can handle it. But I suspect they're a minority of the rich. The article in the New York Times today does focus on some of the millionaires in New York who are have formed an organization to get behind Mamdani's efforts. The vast majority of New Yorkers support that. Yeah. No, shut up. Okay. One more thing on the rich, and then I'm going to cease and desist. There was another piece that I read that just boiled my blood, but you guys are already onto it. You see all these people that Trump is pardoning. Most of them are rich. They're rich guys like him who got caught and convicted and, unlike him, were sent to jail. Trump, who doesn't feel much of anything for anybody, feels he takes that personally. it gets him nervous. So he has built up what essentially amounts to a pardon industry where people are making money off of the rich who are in jail, who are now paying out big sums to the people in the pardon industry who say that they can get them a pardon. So there are people now out there who say, I have access to Trump. Now, they themselves might not have access, but they might have access to Laura Loomer or somebody else. And if you give them a big hunk of cash, I guess they might give another bit of that cash to maybe Laura or whoever else is their conduit to Trump. The corruption that this man creates is just, it's just awesome. It really is. So there was a guy who just got out. He ended up serving only 3 months of a 3-year sentence for the kind of crimes that Trump and a lot of his cronies commit every year, tax fraud. This guy got caught. And he paid over $1 million. He was very open about it. In fact, he was open about it while he was doing it, sitting in prison. Well, I gave $1 million to so-and-so. He says he's going to get me. And he was very open. And then all of a sudden, bango, one day, damn, the guy walks out. 3 months into a 3-year sentence. He walks out. He gave 100,000 to somebody. He gave $1 million to somebody else. Laura Loomer was in somebody whose name got dropped. Also, somebody named Alice Marie Johnson, who is supposedly Trump's pardon czar. So if you know Mayor Alice Marie, or say you do, that might get you a hunk of change too. Also knowing the White House counsel. Yeah. And if you think Trump ain't getting a cut, which leads me to another thing I saw. What? I think it was Senator Blumenthal and what's her name? Oh, that's not Cullen. Come on. Who's the never mind. Anyway, I will find this. Elizabeth Warren. So they and some others are looking into what happened to the millions and millions of dollars that these media companies that Trump was shaking down, Paramount, ABC, he sued them, they settled, they gave him 10, 16 mil here, and he said, and it'll go to my presidential library. I'm not, right? Well, now these two, amongst others, are asking what happened to that corporate money. I mean, we're talking lots if you add up all those shakedowns. He said he was defamed or something got cut, and so they give him $8 million or $16 million. And that was all to go to the Trump presidential library. But guess what? The Donald J. Trump Presidential Library Fund, Inc. has been administratively dissolved. And it was incorporated in the great state of Florida. And it's the state of Florida that, I guess, dissolved it because, and you'll be shocked by this, the Donald J. Trump Presidential Library Fund, Inc. did not submit their mandatory annual report. And then 3 months after the state of Florida said, hey guys, wait, you can't be here if you're not, which I'm even shocked by. Then the lawyer who originally incorporated the fund filed articles of dissolution. And so there is no library fund that all of these media companies gave Trump the money for. And so Blumenthal has said, and now it is unclear where this money has gone. I've got an idea. I bet you do too. I can't imagine where that money might have gone. Tim says, post-news quiz today. This is good because I've sort of wanted to segue into the Oscars because it's more benign. What film won Oscar for Best Picture last year? I can never remember. What film won last year? Oh, Judy's answering. Anora. Anora? What was that? I gotta tell you. They don't make movies like they used to. I know there's some good ones out there, but man, I saw this thing. Where did I see it? Yeah. Come on. Oh no, it's not here. It was a list of the best picture nominees in the 70s. And every year, well, here, I'll Google it. Every year, it was like, how the hell do you pick? Here, best movie nominees for Oscars in 70s. Okay. And they get them wrong a lot as you look back. Okay, so here. No, just tell me. Just shut the fuck up. God damn it. Okay, here, sorry. Welcome to me navigating the internet. Okay. Okay, so in they only let there were only 5, now what are there, 10, 15, 500 nominees? And there was whatever. $1970, Airport, 5 Easy Pieces, Love Story, MASH, Patton. So who won? Patton, right? I don't know. Then 71, A Clockwork Orange, The French Connection, The Last Picture Show. I'm not giving some of the, and they got duds too. But okay, wow. Here is 72. Deliverance. The Godfather. Sounder. It's another great movie. Why aren't I seeing 5? Oh, Cabaret. Wow. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't think they make great movies anymore. Here's, wow, 70, 75. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Jaws. Dog Day Afternoon. Who won? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I do remember that. They won. But you could argue that Jaws turned out to be the more iconic film. I don't know, but gee whiz, were they making good movies then. 76, All the President's Men, Network. And Network didn't win, I remember. That is one of the great movies. One of the great. So who won? All the President's Men? I don't think. Bound for Glory, Network, Rocky. And Taxi Driver. They were all the same year. Jesus H, how do you pick? I mean, at the time, it's different than like looking back. That is unbelievable. The nominated movies, Taxi Driver, Rocky, Network, All the President's Men, and the 5th is Bound for Glory. Was that about Woody Guthrie? And then the next year, Annie Hall, The Goodbye Girl, which I just rewatched. I love that movie. Julia, Star Wars. Oh, God. So anyway, I'm just saying we don't do these movies anymore. I mean, I know there's good ones that come out, but if you look at, I don't know, this one that's been cleaning up, what's the name of it? What's the name of that one that's cleaning up? You know, the one about with DiCaprio in it. I didn't think it was that great a movie. It was fine. It was too long. It was okay. There was some really good acting in it. I thought the greatest acting in it was Sean Penn, and I don't even know if he's nominated. Oh, I remember Anora now. I like that movie very much. That was the one with about the Russian, yeah. I vaguely remember it, and the prostitute. Yeah, yeah, that was a good movie. But somehow, you know, the stuff you really want to watch is often being made for that, what used to be the small screen, the TV, which in some people's homes now is a humongous screen, because people are staying home and watching what used to be movies because of the technology. You know, there are those who would argue that you miss something by not having that communal experience. But I think most of us would say, you know, the communal experience, what? Listening to somebody whisper behind you or, eat popcorn. And it's always too loud in those movies. Not to mention that there's a half hour of commercials. I don't know. The movies have done themselves in. And with this consolidation that's going on, I think that's over. So I don't know. I have thought that some of what these streaming things are that I've been watching on the TV are just wondrous. Some of my favorites. One that I'm in right now, waiting each Monday for the next episode to drop, is Paradise. I don't know if any of you are into that, but if you're not, wow. This is its second season, and it's incredible. Second season's better than the first. It's just friggin' incredible, I think. And I don't even remember the stuff I watched, but there's been so many. Pluribus is another one that now I'm waiting for the next season. Yeah, one battle after another. I don't know. I think also some of the better films are not in English, and you find that out. But yeah, Paradise, man, I can't bear the thought that there's only, what, 2 or 3 more episodes. I can't bear it because there'll be another season. You can tell there's gonna be another season. It is so well done. I forgot the other one I just finished that I really loved. But when I finish one, I'm always bereft and then casting around for for another. And there's some that other people have said, "Oh, you got it," and I've tried and and haven't been able to get into, but that's, we all have our own. But I'll be John Cazale appeared in 5 movies in the '70s before his early death. All 5 were nominated for Best Picture, and he never won a thing, I bet. What was he in? Was he in Deer Hunter? Yeah. I watch the Oscars because it's a thing. It's a thing to make fun of or, get mad at. Sometimes it's entertaining. Usually not. Always goes on too long. But, yeah. But who doesn't need that kind of, distraction? And I don't know, are we gonna get a lot of political stuff going on? I'm of 2 minds with that. I appreciate it, but on the other hand, oh, no. Oh, one of the reasons I like to watch is just to get away, but seeing as the Oscars are watched all over the world, I can see why some would wanna use that stage to let the world know, as an American, assuming that the person's an American, you know, is appalled and horrified and needs to apologize. I don't know. Okay, so Cazale was, Deer Hunter, Godfather. Oh, The Conversation. Oh, was that a good movie? Dog Day Afternoon? My God. You said 5, that's 4. Right? That's wow, and then he dies? It's too bad, but man, he got some great movies in. You know, I tried to watch a Robert Duvall movie that, he won an Oscar for, the Tender Mercies, the other day, and I ended up turning it off because it was going to get it might have ended fine, but it was going to put me through a lot of misery. I couldn't, it's funny. It's like I just couldn't. I I wanna watch I can't watch misery right now, and I don't mean the movie. I can't watch it. Judy's saying Train Dreams. I don't think was it nominated for it might have been nominated, but doesn't have a chance. It's a beautiful movie. But hardly the kind of movie that, is gonna win. I don't think so. I watched, yes, I think Blue Moon, the one about, Heart. Again, I don't know if it was my mood. I found it, tedious. Oh, he was Fredo. So both Godfather movies. Yeah, and he died. Wow. I don't know, Blue Moon. I can't remember why I didn't like it, but I started to weary of it. And maybe because it's sort of a pointy-headed, it's a talky. I wasn't in the mood. I don't know. I become harder and harder to please. 'Tis true. Hey, guys, we're out of time. We're out of time. Nice to talk at you, with you. Thank you. That's it. Wow. Okay, and now I'm gonna try what horrors await us? Talk to you Monday. Guess by then we'll know.